But Marissa, did you have any specific questions, or did you want me to just go over all feedback?
You can just go over feedback.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to make sure I cover all my feedback for each of you. It just might mean I have to talk a bit quicker. um, so let me find you here. I saw it. There we go. Yeah, okay, I'm remembering now. Yeah, so, okay. I built a circle handle, and I want to show you how to do that. But let's see. So I really liked your feet design. That was my first comment. I would love to see like some of this detail built into like maybe the bodies here or something. And I see you built it similar to how we did the, the details on the bottle, and that makes sense to me. You could also do this as an extrude cut going up and down, and that's maybe how I would build it onto one of these corners. I noticed, just be aware that like this Boss Extrude 2, which I think is like a legacy from my file, it undoes your cut here. I think there's like this cut that's in here, and then when we roll to Boss Extrude 2, it kind of undoes that cut. So just be aware of that. Okay, yeah, most of my feedback was just like on your design and how to approach it. So let me show you your handle. If you recall, I think the feedback from last class, I liked the concept that had like trying to get the illusion of the full round handle. But it didn't quite sell it because it wasn't quite a full round. So the easiest way to do that would be to edit your curvature here. And you could almost drag this all the way down till it's a half circle. So this is one of two steps. The second step would be to simply just suppress this one here. And now you have a fully round handle. Obviously, like this part line cut would also need to be dragged so that it just goes all the way through, something like that. But now if we go back to your assembly, it will update with a full round, but obviously it doesn't quite go through like how you wanted it. So you could have two handles, right? I know you didn't want this on all your concepts. So you could save a copy of your handle, right? And leave it for the concepts where you don't want it to be a full round, just leave it as is. It's great. For the concept where you do want it to be a full round, save it as a copy, make the change I just showed. Now, obviously, it's not going through how you want it. The next easiest change to make would be to go back to the handle and just change this number in here to like, I forget what it was that worked for me. I'm just going to go 6. I think it was 6.5. That might be too big. But it just grows the handle's diameter. And then when we come back to the assembly, it looks like some things broke on us, unfortunately. I think you had everything mated. Oh, yeah, don't mate with a lock. You would lose points for that. So you do have to do a full mate. So here, let me try and... So, okay, 6.5 didn't work. But so probably like 7 would work or something like that. But that was my main feedback to you, was like how to edit this. The other one was like possibly making like these corners in radius match this radius, and possibly like doing like an extrude cut going up along this to add like more detail to match your object. And if that's confusing, I can show you either after class or send me an email.
Okay.
Cool. Otherwise, nice work. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Up next, we have Dulce. Sorry, I forgot to give you a heads up, Dulce. After Dulce, it will be Michael. So, Dulce, did you have any specific questions or just general feedback?
Just general feedback. I know I gave a lot of assemblies, so...
No, it's all right. I wrote notes on all of them. I don't know if I'll be able to open all of them. So assembly 1, I just said, obviously handle position is an issue. I think bezel before...
Oh, I sent you the wrong file.
Okay. No worries. I was wondering if that was the case because I had seen that one before. And again, if you want more feedback after class, I can hang out. For assembly 2, yeah, just consider your mates, right? You just need to lock these more. I may have accidentally saved this one from when I was reviewing it. So like this one, it seems like it's mated too far back. It needs to be moved forward. So yeah, just double check these. Again, it's all about like looking at, like, actually I appreciate that you did this like location circular pattern. That's good. You know, for example, this one, again, look at the direction it's traveling and mate the perpendicular plane. So it looks like this is traveling front and back. So that means you need to mate the front plane to the front plane and do a distance mate. You built it in halves, which is great. This is what I was talking about in terms of like placement and tension. Do you see this here? Like for this project, you're not going to lose points, but ideally, you know, like the knob would be smaller to fit on this face better. And like this half circle and this full circle, the centers would be aligned and would be concentric.
Now that you bring that up, I did have a question that might help the class. Since I'm using the same loft for this one and in another assembly, whenever I change the loft in one to fit the assembly, it changes it when I open it again in another assembly.
Got it. So you want to give it a different name.
Okay, so when you save it, you have to
what's
give it a
going on.
different.
I realize that now. Because I opened this one first. Okay, let me close all of these. I see what you're saying. I'm going to close all these. Yeah, let me make a note of that. You're right. That is something that will help the class. So that's something I'll say at the end. So now let me open this without anything else open. There you go. Yeah, the solution is to rename the files. So yeah, double check your mates. If you have issues with this, I think I have it recorded in several places, like how it's set up. Go back and look at the assembly demo and just, you know, get these mates locked in. But yeah, as far as like updating, just name the file differently. So like while this file is open, if I were to open this handle, the quickest fix is to just say file, save as. Click save as in that option and just say like asem3. And now you'll notice when I go back to this assembly, it's named asem3 here. So now it won't pull the wrong handle. So the key is you have to have the assembly open. You have to open the file and save it while the assembly is open, and then just like save everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Overall, looking pretty good. My main concerns is the mating. All right. Up next we have Michael, and after Michael it will be Yuan-Sing. So be ready. Michael, did you have a specific question or did you just want general feedback? Is Michael Peters there? Oh, you've had microphone issues in the past. Yeah, I see your microphone's lit up, but I'm not hearing you. Okay. He's generally pretty quick to leave and come back. For the sake of time, Yuan-Sing, are you ready to go now, or?
Yeah.
All right. And then I'll get back to Michael after you. Yeah, did you have a specific question or did you just want general feedback?
General feedback would be fine.
Okay. Yeah, no, so let me restart this time. Everything looked pretty good. I think everything was locked in. Nice work. I looked mainly at this file, your main part file. Yeah, so I noticed, right, it's this boss extrude 2, so that's what I adjusted at the start of class.
Yeah.
But no, otherwise everything looked good. I'm glad you built that in halves, so nice work. Yeah, the foot, I know, so some people asked about this last class. meaning to share that video. So if anyone's curious on how Yunsing built this foot and how we talked about it, it's just a single loft that's then circular patterned, combined, and then filleted to kind of get it to blend. Now, and I think it gives a good enough illusion. If this were being like fully built out, typically this loft would be done in halves and it would be done with surfacing. And building this out, often like smooth blends and transitions like this would also be surfaced. I fully expect to get into at least 1 or 2 surface examples when we get to project 3. But no, honestly, that's all my literally my only feedback was was that just typically this would be lofted in half. But you did what I shared and recommended, so there's nothing wrong here. The reason I didn't recommend doing this in half when we talked about it was just because it is so organic. I think the complexity of getting it to work as a half without surfacing would be a little bit too fussy. And so it serves its purpose. The reason I bring it up now is mainly, again, to just say, like, generally best practice, that's what would be done. But I know, like, you followed what I recommended. So, but anyway, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
But no, overall good work. I like the design. It looks good. Cool.
Thanks.
Yep. All right. Michael, is your microphone working?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can, yes, awesome. Did you have a specific question or did you just want general feedback?
No, the specific question was the error in a handle.
Oh, sure,
And,
yeah. Let me look at it. Jishin, you'll be up in 3 minutes, so just be ready. Yeah, errors like this, it's just a missing, so if you see an error, like edit the part, that's typically what I do. Like I'll see what's wrong. So, okay, the sketch has an error. So I'm gonna right click on this and say edit. And then I look at the sketch and I notice that there's this little green thing here. Green, I mean brown, green, it's kind of hard to see. It means that it's a missing reference. So if you like click on that dot, you can see here, it's like highlighted and says coincident. You can just click on this and delete it. And then you're good to go. That's it.
Oh, is that simple?
It's that simple. It just means like a point is missing. It lost what it was connected to. This is what I was saying earlier. Just like delete these suppressions. You don't need them. It's kind of fussy on my part, but it's, again, I would argue it's like a habit thing. You want to have clean files. What else? Okay, so just general feedback beyond that. Yeah, just double check your mates. So again, for you, it's traveling front and back. So you want a plane perpendicular to that travel. So that would be the front plane. You want to mate this one. Fillet seams. Yeah. So when I edit this part, just be aware, like, again, you're not going to lose points on this project. I think other projects I would take off points for this. Yeah, I don't know though. I did say that there's no seams on the knob, so maybe. Anyway, it's an easy enough fix, so please fix this. There's an edge here. Do you see that? This like point it's creating. Just edit this fillet 4. If you just make it a bit smaller, so it's like 0.65. If you just make it even, I think like 0.5. Now the fillet has more room to breathe through here. The other thing that's causing the seam, I remember now, is in this extrusion. I mean, I don't know if this is a design intent or not. Yeah, you probably want this. I would recommend making this tangent, just for sort of like even down here. I don't know. To me, there's no reason why it shouldn't be. And so now you're gonna have a much more clean aesthetic. You see that difference from like where it was to where it is now?
Yeah.
So basically edit boss extrude 4, make it tangent, and then just make fillet 4 a bit smaller, and that'll clean up the file.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically it. I think the only last feedback I had was putting something before a mirror. Oh yeah, this extrude, right? If you put the mirror if you extrude this before the mirror, you wouldn't have to sketch it on both sides. That's it. That's the last feedback. So like
Oh, okay.
this,
Yeah, I get it.
you had to sketch it on both sides, or I guess you had to mirror it in the sketch. I mean, if you just did it before the overall body mirror, you would save you a step. All right, nice work.
All right, thank you.
Okay, up next, total speed round. We have Jishin, and after Jishin we have where's number 15? We have Miranda. Despite my best efforts, we are probably gonna. So yeah, I apologize if like Lafayette and who else? Christina and possibly Gavin, we may start to get over 640, and I apologize. If anyone wanted one-on-one time, I will make one-on-one time after class. So don't worry. It just means, I'm sorry, it just means hanging out a bit later than maybe you may want to. Jishin, did you have any specific questions?
Yes, actually, I have upload a new file today. It's I adding a X curve on support on the base, so it's look a little bit crazy, but
Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry, based on the time we have, me downloading that and looking at it now, I don't think would be
Yeah.
a good use of time, just in terms of like having to download it. But I will download it and look at it, and I can either email you feedback, or if you want to hang out after
Yeah,
class.
thank you.
Yeah, okay, so feedback on this one specifically, double check the knob here had a seam on it. Or was this the one that I fixed? No. Do you see that seam here?
Yeah,
So
I don't know how to fix here. Yeah.
So here's this fix I think worked for me. So here, instead of going bottom to top, I would clear all of these. And the loft, I would go from this shape to this shape. And then let's see, we want to make sure that our like loft guide makes sense. So we want to start nice and clean like that. Then we want to make sure that we can see these edges. So now for guide curves, I would select this edge. Now up here, because there's all these like disjointed edges, you want to right click and you want to say selection manager. And then it allows you to select all of these parts. And then you can check this. And then you want to make sure your start and end constraint is normal to profile. Now it's not giving us okay. This worked for me yesterday, I think. I'll double check in a minute. Yeah, okay. I think this is what happened yesterday. It showed a weird thing, but it still worked. And now when we hide this here, the seam is gone.
Yeah.
So try that. If for some reason it doesn't work, I can understand, but definitely give that a try to try and get that seam out. Okay, what else? Yeah, okay. I had a comment on the handle and then a comment on the... Oh, you're missing an indicator on your knob, by the way. So just put like a little circle or something. Oh, the handle. Yeah. So this is not a logical sweep because it could be extruded. So I don't know if you were here when I gave Cody feedback, but the simplest thing you can do is in your sweep handle here is just add a slight curve here. And then it makes it more like, you know, then maybe it's a bit softer for the hand, but now this is a more logical sweep because otherwise without this, it could just be extruded.
Okay.
That's mainly it. I think, oh yeah. Two more things real quick, as quick as I can. In your body file here, or the main body file,
Yeah.
I would, if it were me, I would try and get the bumps before this mirror. So kind of these details. It's kind of nitpicking, but in terms of efficiency, it would work better. And then as far as your rendering goes, it's just a bit blown out. Like the white I would just make the lighting just a bit darker, or the brightness of your scene a bit darker. Do you see how like the white starts to all blend together?
Yeah.
Like we're losing detail, like the top of this edge to what's behind it.
Okay.
Okay, but otherwise nice work.
Thank you.
Okay, yep. So yeah, Miranda, you're up. I think after I give you feedback, I'm gonna address the class. So I apologize to Lafayette, Christina, and Gavin. But if the three of you can just stay a bit later, if for some reason you can't stay late, I can whatever, let me know and we can do it by email or something. Okay, cool. I appreciate it. But yeah, let me give Miranda feedback and then I'll adjust the class and dismiss people who need to go, but then I'm gonna stay obviously and help the three of you with feedback. All right, Miranda, did you have a specific question or just general feedback?
Just feedback, really. I know I need to fix the overall shapes of them, so I'm gonna work on that.
Okay. I made a note about lofting for you from last class, but the knob loft looked good. So you're covered on lofts. I made a comment about Boss Extrude 3. Don't know why. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Okay. No, this is good. The reason I'm saying oh man is like there's a couple of things I would like to show you that we probably don't have time for. So the main comment I had for Boss Extrude 3, this is just something we talked about that came up last class, was that if you extrude it taller, oh, that's what it was your setup here. The setup was just a bit convoluted, if I'm being honest. Like for me, I might have just started from the sketch plane and just send it in one direction. You know, you can also say like offset from surface if you want it to be like 0.2 taller. Sometimes that works. The reason I say sometimes is because typically it works better when it's inside the surface, but because the shape is just slightly bigger, it's okay. So that was my main thing on Boss Extrude 3, was just looking at your setup. It didn't need to be as complicated as it was. You were like trying to dial in the exact distance back down to where it started. So just, I don't know. This is how I would set it up. I would go from the sketch plane and I would have it offset from this top surface.
Okay.
Yeah, the other feedback is more so to your file. And I think we were talking about adding some complexity to it. So when I was looking at this, and unfortunately I don't have the time to show you all these steps, but basically I extruded Boss Extrude 3 taller, like way taller. And then I put a curved cut on it. Or no, I left the paisley cut that you had. Then I put a crown cut on this, just again, looking at your part, the fact that it had more curvature to it. And then doing like sort of an offset cut on the inside. Do these steps somewhat make sense? Like at least how I'm achieving this?
Yeah.
It's basically adding complexity to what you have to make it a little bit more similar to your chosen object. So now it becomes almost more like a lattice or like a floating pattern. Obviously, I'm changing the design. It's not something you have to do, but I just want to like arm you with those tools on how to do that. In the remaining couple seconds left, I noticed you like made these paisley patterns yourself, which is great, and they look good. I wanted to bring up that you can actually you can import vector files into SolidWorks. So for anyone who's, I'm assuming the whole class is here now because it's near the end of class, but this is for everybody. You can like simply search for any vector file, like logos, but in this case, like a paisley pattern. If we had time, I'd show you, like you just open the vector in Illustrator, you export it as a DXF, or sorry, no, a DWG is what you want it. So in Illustrator, you go File, Export, DWG. You select the DWG and you click on Open, and it'll just prompt you through a dialog. So here it's asking how you want to open it, and you just simply select Import a new part as a 2D sketch, and you can simply just select Finish. And you'll see here, like, oh wait, sorry. This was new to me. I think you have to edit to configurable sketch. don't know why it's doing this. I forget what I did to resolve this yesterday. Oh wait, so I'm selecting the sketch. Okay, sorry, I know we don't have time for this now. It used to not do this. And I don't know if I missed a setting in the thing. So maybe this is something I have to come back to. I did figure it out yesterday. I totally forgot what I did. I saved it out here as a part, but it becomes a sketch that you can use. And then you can like use this as an extrude cut or an extrude or what have you. Obviously with this complexity, you have to select the things, but yeah, that's possible. Okay. So Miranda, if you have more questions, I'm happy to stacking. I realize like stacking this up and promising people time after class. So unfortunately, I know there's a lot to go over, and I apologize for not managing time better earlier on. I'm going to pause. I'm going to continue recording the YouTube video now. Gavin, are you there? And do you have any specific questions?
Yes, I am here, and I know I put three files in there. I don't know if you could maybe go into each of them, but I totally understand if you can't.
No, that's fine. I definitely made notes on each of them. I don't know if I have time to open each of them, but I can definitely at least talk through the notes on each one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, really liked the way you built the knob. I looked at that. It translated well. I didn't see any seams, so nice work there. Yeah. Mate the handle. So this thing is sliding left to right. That means you want to use the right plane to fix it in place. I noticed that you didn't have a center plane to mate this to, so I think my solution was you can mate, so I have that center plane selected. You can mate it to like this sketch here, and that fixed it for
Okay.
me.
I swear to God that's mated in my file. Maybe I just sent you like an older file or something.
It's
but...
possible. Yeah, it's also possible things got missed. I think here, plane 3 and 6. Yeah, typically, base these off of sketches wherever possible. Same feedback general for the class. Try and mirror it only once if you can. So all of these like mirror, 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 mirror. Like that just tells me like just try and get this above, before the mirror here. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. I never fully ruled on mirror rules. Yeah, definitely. I would, whatever file you turn into me, like if you turned in this file and I saw these many mirrors, this is what I would take off like 0.3 points for, because you definitely built it in half and you mirrored it, which is great. But it just feels a bit redundant. So try and clean that up if you can. And again, just simply what I did there, I dragged this cut above it. It negates both of these.
Cool.
Same here.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
About the mirroring. If I make a lofted body and then I mirror it 4 times and then mirror it again so that it's also the base, is that too much mirroring?
No. Yeah. Okay. That's a great question. No, that's not. So the reason why this is too much mirroring is because the order would negate these. But if you're building what's essentially an eighth of the object, so if you're just building this top right corner and then it's the same as the back corner, the left corner, and the bottom, like that's okay.
Okay, cool.
So like, yeah, so this is what you did here. You mirrored it this way. Yep, totally. Now if this for somehow was the base too, you could mirror it about the base.
Cool.
All right. Unfortunately, like we're totally running out of time. My main feedback for your other two was just delete sketches and that aren't necessary. And the way to do that is with suppressions. So I'm just gonna see if I can quickly open this. So like what I would do is anything here that's not necessary, I would just suppress. Do you see that? So I'm just selecting them and suppressing them.
Yeah.
And if nothing else is getting suppressed, which nothing else is, it means you can delete them.
Okay, cool.
The last thing I want to show you that unfortunately I don't have time to show you how I did it. And if you're curious, we talked about having the handle blend into the top here.
Ooh,
so what I did is I copied the profile of your handle sweep So I copied this sketch here.
Mhm.
And basically I placed it on here and just put it as an extrusion. If you,
And then you just
yeah,
filtered it?
and then I just
Oh,
forwarded it.
okay. Cool.
If you can't figure this out on your own, feel free to email me, and I can record a demo on exactly how I did this if you want to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll try it out first, but I'll definitely send you a message if I
Yeah,
can't figure that
yeah, don't be shy if you can't figure it out. But the effect is cool. I would encourage you to do it for one, because it will definitely help. I think it was Cody's feedback or someone's feedback, but
out. Yeah, no, it's
definitely.
good feedback too.
Okay, cool. Nice work. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Thanks for hanging out. You're free to go if you need to. Christina, do you have any specific questions, or do you just want general feedback? And again,
Can I just get feedback?
Okay, yeah. Again, apologies for staying late, asking you to stay late. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, this was one of the feedback, which was building it in half, and I hate to ask you to do that because it's so complex. But you know, the way to do that would be to take this sweep and just like, you know, here I'm going to trim tool out half of it. And I don't know, some things might blow up. Like it's just going through and changing some of these things. You know, this red stuff, if you wanted like a quick fix, I think you can just, no, that's not working. You may have to delete it out entirely and then like select sketch 3 again here and convert entities. But yeah, it's up to you. I can understand if you don't want to make that effort to make this change. It will be lost points, but I think so far so good though, actually, with just that. Even if it's just that, let's say, and again, this is being recorded, so if you need to go back and see what I just did, how to do this. Here you would want to mirror the bodies. So that seemed to work. You might have to replace this fillet. So I guess that's not as bad as I thought. I think you would have to mirror this one too. Select this in your mirror. I love this detail. I'm glad you put it in. Typically, this would be done as part of this sweep. But again, I like what Sam's comment was earlier about exploring and designing in SolidWorks and in CAD. And I fully understand that that's probably what you were doing here. But it's just an efficiency thing. Like if you can include this sweep with this one, you may as well. What else did I have? That's mainly it. That's it. That's all the feedback I had. Did you have any other questions?
Yeah, in terms of all three of them, which one do you think needs a little more improvement to look like the object I selected?
I would need to look at them all again. Probably this first one. Honestly, though, I think you did a good job personally. I mean, my only nitpick, which is what I said before, but you defended it well, is that the handles split. But I think you did a good job. Like, I almost hate to tell you to change this one because I like the simplicity of it. This one, I really like what you did at the base, and I like this kind of kidney shape. Honestly, I think you're fine in terms of like being close to what you have. I appreciate the details you did. You know, if we're talking about like, honestly, it is a bit too late for the survey, obviously, because it's out. I think, yeah, I don't know. It's maybe only this one that I think could be closer to the image. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, you did a good job. I think you have one of the more like sort of challenging inspiration images to match.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I'm concerned, I like your solution. Obviously, the survey it's out and it's it's other people's opinions. And maybe like, I don't know, maybe like, again, yeah, this one could have had more detail or more wood grain or something.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise,
Okay.
good work. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. All right, Lafayette, sorry, thanks for waiting.
No worries.
I appreciate it. Did you have any specific questions or just general feedback?
General feedback. I've been going in trying to add some more, I guess, realistic details, part lines, and just all that jazz.
Okay. No, I liked your details. I thought it was good, but no, that's good. Honestly, anything, yeah, helps. Especially as we get into the next projects. But I mean, looking at what you had, like I really liked the screen. Like that was a nice touch. You know, yeah. Let me see, what specific feedback did I have? Oh yeah. So okay, I mainly looked at this file. I noticed there was no master sketch, which I realize is kind of, it's another one of those like pain in the ass things to add after the fact. I do have a video on YouTube about how to add that in after the facts, or you can, you know, unfortunately that would be a loss of points if you don't have one. Yeah, it's not easy to explain here in one sitting, but that video, I think it's like a couple minutes long, 10 minutes long at most. It basically takes you through like splitting this out, because like this ideally would be the master sketch. I think if we look at like points based, it would be, if it's only on that one, I mean, each of these are worth 0.6, so that would be 0.6 points if you're counting those. So again, it's up to you whether it's worth that effort or not. And yeah, it's all just like setting up best practice. That's the reasoning. Let me see, what else did I have here? Yeah, so the planes. So typically, again, the planes should be based on sketches and ideally the master sketch. I'm realizing this is probably something I haven't said before, but again, if like you can always create a sketch on this top face, or if you want to do this like top of grill, probably better to have like a sketch that is based off of. Anything like this.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
So don't base new planes off of sketches, or?
Yeah, no, sorry, that's a good question, and I realized like I feel like I'm just word salad at this point. No, quite the opposite. It's good to base planes off of sketches. So if I were to set this up, sort of like my approach on a build, my like main shape might be something like this, and then that'd be like my top master. My front master might be something like this, right? Now, obviously, I know this doesn't match what you have, but then when we get to the bottom here, right? So imagine that these sketches match the diameter you have. Ideally, like this top of grill would be based off of like this sketch and this point. And it's all in the name of having a more robust file, so that like if you make changes, it won't break. It's like more plastic. It's more fluid to make like, right? Because you, again, the example that I would give, this top of grill is like, let's say you decide you want to make a design change and add like some curvature to the top here. So like I have this curve and it's like extrude cut. So like maybe that's a design change you want to make or feedback you get or something. Now this is where this fails now. Does that make sense?
I see.
So that's where like a sketch like this that's at the top of the tree that won't change would be a more robust way to place a plane. Now the other reason why like I'm advocating against this is it's just, and I've broken it, but it's just sort of it's a bit of a redundancy, because whatever you use this top of grill sketch for, like plane for, you can just create a sketch directly on this face. I can select this face and like go into the sketch command and like draw a line or something. And it's fine. Like that's what I want these reviews to be for, is like I totally forget to mention some of these things, and so this is where I try and like catch those things in terms of like letting you know. Again, in terms of points, like this kind of stuff won't lose you points. What else? Yeah, what did the start and the screen. I really like the screen, and it makes sense. Let's see, change transparency. I have a note here with. Oh yeah, I like the way you started your file. Like, I'm glad. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I'm glad you found it, and for your specific piece that you're basing this off of, it's a good way to build a chamfer in.
Okay.
Typically, these chamfers, I mean, it's interesting, but typically these would be possibly like a cut. The reason I say it's interesting is that it's like you're using a chamfer for a vertical face, which is atypical, but not wrong. It's just, you know, something that, yeah, you can take it or leave it. Anyway, I like that you used this draft feature for a design detail. The last comment that I had was on the feet. They're cool, and they work.
I was really just playing.
Yeah, no, I figured. Well, no, the reason I say they're cool is like, I see what you did, right? Like you have this like racetrack shape and then this like bent horseshoe shape. That makes sense. The only feedback I would have would be possibly to loft it as a half, but I totally understand doing it as a whole. It's just, again, in terms of like best practice or whatever, then you would have a corner to connect it. I'm realizing this now too with the mirrors. Yeah, typically you would do this as a body mirror, not a feature mirror. So what that would look like, not that a feature mirror is wrong, it's more so that a body mirror is more robust. So, and I hate that SolidWorks preferences this. I would drop this down, and on bodies here, I would select, oh, okay, my mistake. So here, I understand why you did it as a feature mirror. Totally makes sense. Typically here, if it were me, I would uncheck merge result so that the foot is its own body.
Okay.
And then I would mirror, I realize we're kind of in the weeds here, but again, it's all just sort of like best practice. Mirror that as body. And then you can definitely get, these two in one more mirror command as opposed to two more, if that makes sense. Cool, but yeah, nice work. I like the design. If you're adding more details and stuff, that's totally cool. I mean, I think from your renders, I like what you had in terms of details. It felt, did I go away from this? It felt, yeah, I like the details. It felt real, believable.
Did you want the renders all like in the same lighting? Like, because I did those in 3 different days. I was in 3 different moods. So should they be in the same light? I can redo them.
No, it's up to you. You let's see, what did I have? No, for you, like your renders look good to me. The answer to that question is ideally yes. In terms of like points gained or lost, if you have other stuff going on, which I'm sure you do, it is not a requirement to re-render these. You have all the details here that I can see. But yeah, ideally it would be the same. And that's something I wish, and I'm glad you asked that. If we were still in class, I would have addressed that, because talking about workflow of like multiple renders, I wanted to talk about that and I totally forgot. So I'll probably address that in project 3. But yeah, short answer, no, you don't need to do it. If you want to do it for your own presentation, I think it will look better. But I don't, you're not going to lose points. Like maybe this is a bit washed out if I'm being like super nitpick on this top face.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I love what you have here, like how it's lighter here and darker here. You have a nice gradient across the top. And again, yeah, big fan of that screen. That was a nice touch.
I actually do have one more question on SolidWorks KeyShot. So in Rhino, you can you can like split, or KeyShot, you can split faces and objects and stuff to change the material and all that jazz. But with SolidWorks, I tried doing that, But it seems to still be, it doesn't break down the bodies enough. I mean, I'm wondering if that is a problem or a like thing from SolidWorks that I need to do instead of in Keyshot.
Got it. I meant to ask Sam. Sam said something about being able to split something in Keyshot that he discovered. So I'll be honest.
Because I know how to do it in Keyshot.
Oh, okay. So in SolidWorks, if you want, for example, if you're like hoping that you want to apply different material to this top than this side, you would need to change its color in SolidWorks before bringing it into Keyshot. I don't know if that answers your
Okay,
question.
so it's just like Rhino then. That's Rhino, you can do that way. But you can also just like bring in the blank object, and then in Keyshot, there's a place where you split geometries.
Okay.
And so I was doing that, but it doesn't seem to like really break down the object enough. So I guess this may have to be the way to do it.
Yeah. So, right. Yeah, unfortunately in Keyshot, I haven't really played with that tool. I feel like I've done it once. But yeah, right. To do it in SolidWorks, you need to select the faces and change their colors. But for example, so the way to do that is you simply right-click on the face, look for this beach ball. In the dropdown, you want to look for the face command, and then just change the color. Now, once you're in here, you can select multiple faces, so you can go around and start selecting like all these things. Now, if the color matches, like Keyshot would read all that's yellow here as one body. And
yeah.
Okay. And now, if you wanted to split these further, let's say you wanted like half this face or something, you could. I mean, here we could use this top face to create a sketch. If you make a line or any sketch feature that's longer than the face itself, there is a command. It's under curves, and now, of course, I'm forgetting where curves are. Yeah, okay, so it's in the surfaces tab, and it's here. But it's also actually this little thing here, split line. But here, you load the command, you select the face, and whatever sketch you put, it'll put a line through it, or whatever shape your thing is. Your sketch features. So now you can like select half the face. If you need to like carve it up further, that's a tool that you can use.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. Any other questions?
That should do it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for staying late. Have a good night.
You too.
Jacob, I see your hand. I'm happy to help you.
The only question I have is about mirroring with because I'm going to be putting a rectangle and then this that circle, the spinning plate on top of it. Do I build everything and then just split it and then mirror it across? Because I for a workflow purpose, it wouldn't make much sense to make half of a circle, right?
Yeah, again, I totally acknowledge and yield that some of these requirements are somewhat convoluted. Again, though.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Well, so here's how I would recommend doing it, possibly, if it were me. So I'm assuming this is what you want, something like this. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I might start with this. And if this is still recording, so you should be able to come back and reference this. So I'm copying half. Whoops, I guess midpoint is fine. So here I'm just going to extrude this like down. Let's say this is your base.
Right.
Now on the same top plane, I'm now going to take this. And again, same thing. I'm actually going to cut this in half. So trim tool, trim this out. Extrude this, whatever you want. Yeah, let's say one. I'm not going to merge that. That's what my gut's telling me. And now I'm going to fill it here, because if you loft this without a fillet, it's going to be a bit more challenging.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see what you meant by the loft.
And the bigger this fillet, the better. So now, like, best practice, you probably don't need this, but best practice would be to put in, on this front plane, would be to put in guidelines like this. And like this. Or honestly, these could be arcs too, if you want like a bit of a scallop to it. It's up to you for design. But now for the loft, simply, I believe you can just click on this face and click on this face. You know, get this aligned. Is that not going to work for us?
That wasn't necessarily what I was going for.
Okay.
It was more like the circle would be the plate, and then to the side there would probably be like the sliding knob. Kind of like how.
I got you. Yeah. I got you.
But like that's what I meant by, because then there's gonna be the kind of like my design that I turned into you, that plate that has the studs around it.
Got it.
That would probably be the top.
Got it. So what I would do then here, so let's do this. So this square is centered on here. I'm actually going to select this outer chain or whatever, select all of these and just bump it in slightly. I don't know if I'm still, I guess just bear with me a second here. I'm going to extrude this at 0.5 or something. I'm not going to merge result. That was way smaller than I wanted. Oh, and it should be a half.
So basically just make everything at half.
Yeah. You know, if you at least do part of it in half, I'll give you credit. So if for some reason like the whole thing in half is maybe confusing, figure out what you could do in half.
I was just more asking just because when I get to the point where I want to pattern the studs on that, would I do that in part first and then mirror it, or would I do that after I would mirror it?
Got it.
Because that might be.
That's up to you. That's up to you. If you want to, if it makes more sense to do that, if like it's in your head, if you can follow that better after the mirror, that's fine. If you want like the actual answer, yeah, something like that. If it's symmetric on both sides, the same on both sides, then yeah, it should be after the.
It's just more or less making sure the pattern is like equidistant and.
Got it.
Like not all.
I understand. Yes, that does get tricky. For what it's worth, the solution for that, for the equidistant, is then to start the pattern. Would be like if you're trying to pattern it here, it would be to start the pattern directly in the middle here.
Oh, okay.
That's like the trick to work that out, and then you pattern it 180, and it should exactly end opposite here, and then it'll mirror perfectly. But you don't need to do that. Like that, I agree. That's totally fussy. If it makes sense to do it after, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was kind of where I was getting confused on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to address that. That's a good question and a typical SolidWorks challenge.
Cool. Yeah, other than that, I'm good, Noah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this was sort of whatever the loft I was thinking of. But yeah, it's up to you. If you have questions, just don't be shy. Reach out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yep, see ya.
See ya.
Definitely happy to help anyone who's still here. So, first hand I see, Ely, how can I help you? Followed by Marissa.
Okay, so I'm trying to attach some heat to my toaster, and I'm having trouble. I built them like in a specific orientation, but I need to flip the orientation, and when I make them and flip the orientation, it is it's not really fitting. Like I need to wait.
I think I follow. I can try and show it on my screen, but if you would prefer to just share screen and show me, we can do that too.
Yeah, I can share it real quick. I don't think I have privileges right now.
I'm gonna stop this YouTube recording, but